What's going on, everybody? Cyber here, and I believe this is episode 6 of our Psydub from Scratch series, and we're going to keep it going for a bit longer here. If you're interested in getting presets and things that I save from this project, then check out the description box where there's links to my Patreon. You can become a free member and get those things. So let's see, what are we going to do here? Okay, let's open Serum 2 here and maybe make a pad of some kind. So let's add a filter. Let's add some resonance. Let's take the envelope and give ourselves some attack. And let's use LFO1 to control the filter cutoff here, but slow things up. And let's just go ahead and come into the effects and give ourselves a little bit of reverb because we're making a pad. And let's try the vintage version. Not too bad. Now let's, I haven't actually played around too much with the Serum 2 tables. So let's just check out some of these FM tables. Kind of nice with the high end. Let's see. I kind of like that one. It's a little more subtle. So what if we took an LFO and turned it into a smoothed I think maybe actually a more steady gets re-triggered. But I kind of want this to be more stereo, and how Vital has that stereo modulation where you get like we could have one position of the wavetable on the left and right be offset. We could kind of recreate that here if we just copy this over to oscillator B and then just pan one left and pan one right, and then what we can do is take LFO3, and if we have slightly different wavetable positions, it's going to give us, we gotta not forget to send both into this filter. If we have slightly different wavetable positions, it'll give us that width. Let's kick it down an octave. Let's give ourselves just a ping pong delay. I know I could do it in Vital, but this is just easier for me right now. Or in Serum. Okay, let's not overdo it, and let's just see what happens if we create just an F chord here. Okay, our release time might be a little bit long. But now we can just one key it for the chords. And what we can do actually is automate the release time. So we've got our release time, and it can be a little longer for this first chord and a bit shorter for these two. Work. Then the other thing we will need to consider is how many regens we get on this. That feels pretty good. So let's just see how it feels coming out of here. We're going to call this FM piano pad. Now we want to keep this open for a little bit. We don't want it to just be like a quick one bar transition. We want something a little bit longer than that. But what could be cool is to build it up, drop like a new sequence or something, and then maybe drop a skank and then come into a new section. But I'm wondering whether we build up the new section over here and then work our way backwards a little bit. So yeah, that's something that might be worth trying. So we have our kick and bass pattern from the first drop that might be where we're going. And we've got a section of 4 right here. So timing wise, we might make it 8, but let's rebuild with this first. Let's have the skank. And let's just see, like, does this pad work with it? Okay, and now, I mean, we could continue this through. And we were using the rim before, and we might keep the snare this time. Might be a little bit loud for this section. Who knows, maybe it's still a little loud for the last section, but I'm going to bring it down. I like that direction. So we come out of here, we get the pad going. The other thing to think about is, like, this is a weird amount of time. Maybe we should... Does it sound okay to go right into the pad? Yeah, I think it does. And then we move this one way or the other, probably here. and we give ourselves just 4 bars of break and into this new section. And maybe this first time we skip this 5 chord and see what it feels like. Okay guys, what I'm gonna do now is copy this F scale in Scalar, open a new instrument, grab MIDI effects here and load a new scalar so that we have F chords, F scale on our 1 key. And we're gonna just copy out this pattern really quick here. So we're gonna have, let's pull that down, orphaned automation, delete data. We don't need the automation. What we want is just to have these chords, but we want to pull them out like this, and like this. And then we can duplicate that out, and now we should have chords and vital. And what we're going to do before we get going too far is make ourselves like a fun little sequence, I think, with vital. Take vital, and we are going to do this idea I have for a patch where we like get some formant sounds out of the text to wavetable. So let's try EO and see what this sounds like if we kick it down an octave. Ready? Oh, I've got both selected. Here we go. And I'm going to turn off Scalar for a minute. Cool, that's great. Now let's try, how about we do ooh, ah. Oh no. All right, let me see here. Okay, I found my saved wavetables and I just typed in some other vowels. So I'm just gonna load them up here, and then let's try this one. I don't remember what I did, but I'll show you what they sound like. Text to wavetable vowel 3. There we go. So now we have this, we can pull down an octave. This we can pull down an octave. And what we'll do is, here's what they sound like. So you can just type in vowels and get these kind of vowel-y sounds that are like a bit formaty. And then what we can do from here is create a bit of a switch with a macro. So what we're going to do is turn all these on again, but we'll turn the levels down, and we'll take macro 1 and move it to level 1, and then we'll pop over into here, and let's switch this to 3 spots so we can grab us, our step thing and go, all right, actually, when it's in this first area, the level will be up for oscillator 1, and when it's in this second area, the level will be up for oscillator 2, and when it's in this third area, the level will be up for oscillator 3, and now we can switch between the 3 oscillators. Might need to turn the volume down a little bit. But for some reason, it's off when it's all the way down. So we're going to just leave it up a little bit like this. And we're going to call this oscillator switch. Yeah, that's fine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab a note on random. So every time we press a key, we're going to get a different position, which should work out for us. It might duplicate sometimes. Yep, it works. And let's bring this down an octave as well, but we don't want these to be static wavetable positions. So before we turn this switch on, we want to let's get some movement happening. So let's take random 1 and put it here. Find a nice area of the wavetable. There's that one. Now let's go to the second one. And we could use the same random for all of these because it really doesn't matter. It's different wavetables each time. And then we could do the same thing. And if we really wanted to make this super wide, we could turn on stereo so that we get different wavetable positions on the left and right. That's pretty wicked. Now we can take this note on random over here. And we could have a sick lead here if we just mono legato it real quick. Nice. So the other thing we might do is come into our effects and maybe give ourselves a little bit of random down sampling, because I love down sampling sometimes. So let's give us a little bit of random. That'll sound good. And actually, you know what could be good too is if we maybe make the down sampling stereo as well. But we give ourselves a random amount of stereo downsampling. Can we do that? Can we put that one to there? Here we go. Now I've got a random amount of stereo down sample on the left and right. That's pretty sick. But it's still very dry, so let's go ahead and do a dotted eighth, ping pong. It's way too much feedback. We want something very short. Cool. All right, now let's go ahead and turn on scalar and then turn on rhythmizer, and maybe we'll do something more composed in a minute, but like let's just for fun and sound design playing around, let's see what it sounds like. We need poly mode. wonder if we left one of these up an octave. Now we're already getting octave jumps. Let's call this faux formant. And the other thing we might do actually is, it's already really stereo, but I wonder about just giving ourselves a bit of pan as well. Like if we just take this random but we want to make this bipolar in this case. Make sure it's bipolar, and then do that for each one of these and say make bipolar. Just give ourselves a little bit more random movement of the actual oscillator voice. See if this sounds good. All right, that's getting pretty 3D. I'm gonna save this preset as faux formant for y'all, and we'll call this, is it a sequence? Sure, it is now. I'm using it with Rhythmizer, but it could be a lead, depending on how you use it. But I will upload that to the Patreon post. You can get that if you join as a free member. So, all right, so let's change this grid to 16. And if we come in here, all right, so let's automate these effects a little bit while we are in here. So what we want is the vital delay mix to be higher for this little intro part. And we might actually go ahead and bring in some reverb as well and automate the reverb mix. We'll keep the reverb on ever so slightly. But this delay feedback as well, we could keep longer. Let's see. That's pretty cool, but maybe what we could do is go ahead and make a riser from this same patch. That might be sick. All right, so let's duplicate it and create a MIDI region and turn off scaler and rhythmizer and just grab an F. And let's just pick one of these wavetables. How about this first one? And we're going to turn off the switch. So we're just going to, and I wonder about like a harmonic stretch. That could be sick. So let's go ahead and turn on automation here and morph this right on up like that. That worked out pretty well, huh? Nice and easy. Let's hear it from here. let's turn up the attack so that it like eases in for that riser. And another thing that could be cool is something with noise. We already have this white noise riser thing, but I'm thinking that it could be fun to do something with phase plant and phase plant's noise, because phase plant has this dedicated noise oscillator, which I like to mess with. Oops. Sometimes. So what if we grab the noise oscillator and we make it random and we make it like stereo? And let's go ahead and give ourselves a basic filter that's a band pass. Let's make it a little steeper. And let's do a bipolar macro and adjust that to our cutoff. So at the top here, let's turn this down a little bit. Okay. And have it be pretty bright at the top. That's pretty cool. All right, so we might want to just put this in a room. So I'm going to grab Convolver and put it in this live room here. It's a short space, but it kind of makes a difference for this sort of sound. And that's a little too much. So let's do that, and then let's just grab the regular reverb. That sounds great. So what we're going to do is call this cutoff, and we're going to just make ourselves a quick little sweep up here so that this hits better. And we'll just put it on an F even though we don't need to because noise, and grab the cutoff modulation and just give ourselves that. And we don't want it to like totally click. We have a little bit of attack, and our release can be very short as well. So let's just see what it actually sounds like if we go down. Maybe. Nah, I think up probably would be better. So let's go ahead and start really low and then add some curved modulation. See how that feels. There we go. That whips into it a little bit more. That's kind of cool. So I'm just gonna like bounce this out. White noise, whip. There we go. Now mute that for just a second. And we're gonna need a crash. I'm pretty sure I have a crash somewhere. Crash. All right. Oops, too much. Just want one crash. All right, let's see. Now it can be fun to get a little bit more detailed. Stop it, Logic. Stop. All right. Now we have these percussions, but I just brought this phase plant with the noise thing up a little bit. And what we might do is, make some white noise sweeps kind of. I don't know whether we'll do it manually yet, but it can be fun to use a synth for your percussion. Let's just give ourselves this whole area here. See if we can't make something out of this that would be fun for percussion. And what I want to do first is just grab an LFO and make like a little bit more of a 16th note pluck with it. So I've got this percussion muted just for us to work for a second here. And I'm gonna actually, why don't I just solo the kick and bass and the skank. Here we go, kick and bass, skank soloed. Is there anything else I might want? Yeah, the snare. Here we go, so. All right, so. Let's give ourselves a random now, and now that's not bad, but I want a little bit more of this level modulated. So let's go ahead and grab another random. I'm going to put it here just to keep things a bit more organized. Sync it, 16th notes. And I want to just control this a little bit more, but I don't want it to end up at the bottom. Well, maybe I do actually, but I might remap it. Let's see how it sounds. Yeah, let's remap it. So we're gonna grab a remap here and put this to this. And what I would like with this percussion is I wanna have it like be off that amount of the time. I wanna have some ghost notes, like let's say this amount of time. This would be kind of like a ghost note. And then let's give ourselves a little bit less of the like middle and then have this curve here of like different velocities. So now we take this and modulate. It could be nice to have some 16th notes too. So what we could do is grab another random here. Let's close this and close that, and then grab another random, move it here for organization, and let's do 16th notes and see if we can't get this to sometimes do 16th notes. Like if we do, yep, it's going to, well, we want 30-second notes, huh? There we go. We want, but we want it to be a switch. Will that work? Let's see. Let's see what it sounds like. No, because it's given us all the stuff in between. So we actually need to do another remap. And we need to make this into a real switch. So we got this much. It's going to stay on 16th notes, but you know, like a quarter of the time we'll have it go to 30-second notes, and then we'll take this and we'll modulate this till we hit 30-second notes. There we go. too much of the time where this is 0. So this random is supposed to be remapped. There we go, take that off. Now this remap is going to here. Sort of. We're getting a little bit of a drum machine here. And what we might do actually now is, like, sometimes the timing feels a little bit off, but that's no big deal, because what we'll do now is just bounce this out. And let's see here. We might just go ahead, grab the region, and quantize this to 30-second notes. That's kind of cool. Now let's see what it sounds like with our life drums. But in life, we don't want these to be going at the same time so much. So we could prioritize our sweep perk, which is on track 37, and go ahead and let's just do a duck with Pro C2 here. And go ahead and grab audio 37, and we're going to turn off auto gain. We're going to make this really quite fast. We're going to turn our ratio up. We're going to sidechain with external and see what's up here. Let's just hear these. There's a lot going on, so let's just hear if this perk and the snare all sounds. Ooh, the snare we might want to do over the rest of those, but let's just hear if this sounds clean. Let's just sidechain the snare also over these sweeps. So the snare is audio 30, so we could just grab this snare here and some of those are sweep in snares, so I'm going to give this a little bit more space. It's actually pretty cool. All right, we can just duplicate that out. Let's pull this out. Not a bad vibe, but we might need a lead still to keep it interesting. But let's see. I thought this was delayed out. Why am I not hearing that delayed out as much as I want? Cluster delay rate, cluster delay input. I don't know why that's unused, but okay. Let's turn the feedback way up so we get... Okay, it's over here. Okay, let's make this a little bit more dynamic. Let's have this come down a little bit too for this break. Huh, that didn't trigger. All right, I think that's a good place to stop for now. Moving forward, I'm probably going to space the episodes out a little bit more, or maybe I'll put the series down for a little while and pick it back up when I feel ready to do a few more episodes sort of back to back. I'm not really quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but I know I want to take a little bit of a break to get back to working on the album I've been working on, and I got some other projects that I'd like to keep going with, and so it just feels time for me to put this down. But the goal all along here has been to get up and running with a Psydub track so that you guys can use it as a springboard for your own creations. Feel free to remix this or use it as a springboard for creativity. If you want help with getting your tracks to the next level with Psydub or whatever you need help with, feel free to reach out to me for private lessons or mastering, whatever it is. We will probably pick this back up down the road when I feel sort of like the energy's right to do a few more episodes. I'm kind of like all in for a little bit and then take a break kind of a guy anyway. So I think that'll work for me now, and it'll give people a chance to discover the series, and maybe when I have some fresh ideas for that I'm excited to share, would be a good time for me to pick it back up. But I think I'm going to work on my album for a little bit. So thank you so much for following along so far. Thanks for liking the videos and all the comments you leave. That's really appreciated. And so until next time, guys, peace out.